Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'm going to be talking about the new film I.S.S. International Space Station. This is a new film from 2024, rated R with a runtime of an hour and 35 minutes. As of the recording of this video, we have a Rotten Tomato score of 62% from the critics. We don't have an audience score as of yet, but we do have a letterbox score of 2.7 stars. In this film, tensions flare in the near future aboard the International Space Station as a worldwide conflict breaks out on Earth. Reeling from this, the astronauts receive orders from the ground: take the control station by any means necessary. This is directed by Gabriela Coppervate. Not familiar with this director, but looking forward to seeing more. And it stars Ariana DeBose as Dr. Kira Foster, Chris Messina as Gordon Barrett, John Gallagher Jr. as Christian Campbell. Then we have the Russian astronauts, Masha Mashkova as Veronica Vetrov, Kosta Ronin as Nikolai Polev, and Pilo Apsek as Alexei Polev. Uh, so I think this film is in a very interesting spot because we don't get a lot of these anymore, where it's kind of like a mid-range budget. It feels like we also have actors that are very recognizable. I think out of the cast, maybe Ariana DeBose and Chris Messina are probably the most recognizable faces. But I think you'll know almost everyone as you go to this film, because it is a very small cast. They had to pick people with a little bit of cachet, I feel, and I think they did very well. It's a very interesting cast to follow along. Like I said, you'll see familiar faces. You'll see the Kraken from Game of Thrones. You'll see Jim from the newsroom and stuff like that. So yeah, and of course Chris Messina and his mustache that show up to kind of kick ass in space. It's a very interesting premise. I think that the isolation of the astronauts makes for a very high tension situation. Of course, now one thing I will say, it's a little weird that in this International Space Station at this time, I think they kind of did this for the sake of simplicity, where we only have American and Russian uh, astronauts in the base normally. And from what I don't know much about space, but I believe other nations also kind of cooperate and have staff and people in there. So, but I think that would complicate the plot a little bit too much. This makes it very simple, very straightforward. This movie doesn't disappoint. I think it doesn't exceed any of my expectations either. Like, it really is just delivering on what I saw in the trailer and what I had seen in the marketing, right? Which I didn't see much marketing for this film. We know that January releases are usually where some of these studios just they put out their films that maybe they're not so confident on. But we've been known to be surprised, right? I think I recently watched The Beekeeper, which I thought was a lot of fun. So yeah, I don't believe that January is just kind of a dumping ground anymore. I think January is where a movie that maybe has a little bit less cachet, maybe has a little bit less, it's not really a franchise or anything like that. That's where you put this film because it's going to have a lot less competition. Uh, you know, it's either that or people are trying to catch up on some of the Oscar picks. So, but yeah, this film just kind of really it delivered on what I was expecting, and I can't blame it for that. I also really love how brief it is at an hour and 35 minutes. Like, it tells a simple, compact story. It has very good pacing. The tension very slowly rises, right? Because these are in this in this crew, there aren't like any super aggro scientists or anything like that. Like, it feels very real, where these are all people that have been trained to be in these high tense situations, and they're going about everything they're doing for the most part the most logical way. Now, obviously, they're I think their judgment deteriorates as the film goes along, and I think that's kind of where a lot of the tension builds up. Uh, Also, the fact that from what you've seen in the trailers, something's going on Earth. Like, bombs are being dropped everywhere, which makes for a very interesting visuals throughout the film. Not only that, because you're in space, maneuvering it's much more difficult, right? And you can't just go all out because you could damage the base, and then you would self be in danger. So I think it's very, very interesting. It's very aware of like how simple the premise it is, how conservative it's being with its time. So I really appreciated that. It's simple, it's suspenseful. It has little twists and turns that I feel like on a rewatch, I don't know how rewatchable this film's going to be because, like I said, it is very straightforward. It has a good mixture of like, there are people that make sense on both sides. There are people that are a little bit more unhinged on both sides. So like, yeah, very, very clear with its protagonist and antagonist, and very clear with like the objective of everyone. So although this wasn't anything that I would be like really raving about, I think it's just a very well made film. Like, I can't fault the film for just being well made. I kept my attention all throughout the end. There was a few minutes where I did race up out of my seat because, like, that's how interested I was in it. So, like, yeah, I think it accomplished its mission. And I think overall, it's a satisfying film. If you don't have anything else to watch at the moment, where like maybe you're caught up on all your Oscar fare and all this stuff, all the awards contenders, maybe check this out. I think it'll be fun. I think this is definitely something that people are going to enjoy in streaming because it's a film that's very easy to watch. So, yeah, interesting stuff. But if you have seen this film, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here on the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone.